and we're live with Bjorn Lundberg tonight here in UK and Sweden. Welcome to the Healing Matrix Online, and it's my great delight to welcome you a second time here on this channel. We had an amazing journey last time. I can't emphasize enough how much you have covered in terms of ground, in terms of insights, wisdom, in this journey that you have behind you already. And I'm sure that for you listeners and viewers out there, if you hook up with Bjorn Lundberg, you're going to be on for an amazing ride. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be adventurous, insightful. And also, I would add, because of all your insight in body mastery, and when I say body mastery, as far as I understand, Bjorn, you very much work with all levels of the being. So body, for me, with what you're doing is only manifesting really this unison between spirit, soul, and body, and also the alignment that you're creating and helping people to find when you're working with them. So I'm not sure if I missed out anything. I'm sure there's so many things that, you know, besides your very varied journey through life, that you've been in industry, you've been with innovative technologies, and you're continuing researching on a constant basis. So you're, on the one level, a master, and also a student. I feel very strongly, always evolving. And as they say, that practice doesn't necessarily make perfection, but it improves us constantly. And that's what I see you on this journey. And that excites me to have you on the channel, be, you know, in touch with you and befriended with you. I love that. And today we have a situation in this world. It's the end of March. We've just had spring beginning. I really would like to dive with Bjorn into your experience, your suggestions, your insights, and also your tools that you're using to deal with these times that have become very challenging on the one hand, but also on the other hand, very promising. Because I think that's what I like also with your approach. You're looking always at the opportunities and the possibilities that come from challenges that we're facing that might be coming from the outside, but it's rather than saying, well, you know, it's affecting me, rather saying, what do I do with it? So the first question for you, in a way, and I hope we're entering a bit of a conversation here also with this, but mostly have you talk and share your wisdom, is how has this situation made you feel? How do you feel about this situation? It's been going on for a few weeks. We know there's a lot of scaremongering out there. We know there's a very strong focus on just the one word that keeps repeating, and it's about the crown. And I say the English word here because we might even not know that it means that. And how do you see that for yourself? What kind of experiences did you feel first when this all started kind of hitting the news, when this started snowballing and avalanching through the globe, and now all the restrictions that are happening? What's your own experience with that, both in terms of your emotions that you felt being affected maybe? How did you deal with it, and what do you make of it now?
Right. Big question. And,
it's a very profound, deep, long question, and maybe have a few short answers for our listeners that are very succinct and to the point. Yeah.
Well, I think it's we're divided in two kind of major groups. One group who has been awoke for a long time, to a short time, but just say us who have been awoke for some time. We probably feel pretty much the same. Okay, so it finally happened, right? So we are a lot of people who can say, see, I was right. I told you so. This is what I've been saying all along, and now the time is here. It's very few of us who actually say those things, because it's not about that I was right, you know, it doesn't matter. the most important thing is that we help people to wake up, and this situation actually catapults us to wake up. It helps, the masses now to wake up, because so many can feel in their gut that something is wrong, something is off. This whole hysteria and the fear propaganda that we are fed through media is in all of us who are awake, we feel it super clear. But in all those who are not awake, they also feel that it's so, you can't pinpoint it, but it just feels that it's too much. No, it's not something is off, it's not right. So how I've dealt with it is that there is actually two major energies going on. You have that, the fear propaganda from the media. Then you have also a profound peace. There is a lot of love and support and peace energies right now that has, never been on this planet. It's a whole nother level.
Okay.
Everybody is now, going home, spending more time in peace with their family, and everything is quieting down out there. We talked about briefly before we started this talk about what's other repercussions are on the planet, and that is that Mother Gaia gets a final chance to rest. So there is a lot of cleansing going on in nature. Blue skies. In Sweden, we haven't seen chemtrails for 3 days. Okay. It's been blue skies and normal clouds. That happens in many. I get reports from many parts of the world with the same phenomenon. In Venice, I've seen pictures of the channels there that have been muddy forever, and now they're cleared, and there is dolphins swimming in the channels. Remarkable. So, in China, cities where there's been, so heavily pollution for a long time, clear, blue skies, clear. So it's a breeder for Mother Gaia, and it's also a breeder for us. So there is an upgrading going on in frequency, which is very important for us to tune into. And I'm glad you mentioned the crown, because it's actually about the crown chakra. So humanity now gets a chance to tap in to the channel which gives us a direct contact to source energy. Yeah. So instead of being totally involved in the drama going on in the world and following the news, my advice is that this is it. Take this time to really start to dive into yourself and connect with source energy. We all have this channel. The spine is our antenna. And when we go into meditation and daydream, power nap, sleep at night, now we have, there are so many other civilizations now here that are helping us, and they help us through thoughts. Our thoughts comes from somewhere, and that is the field, the quantum field that is feeding us with help, support. We get, we call it intuition, we call it, it was an idea that came out of the blue. Yeah, well, that comes from somewhere, and that field is source energy, and the other advanced civilization, which are here now, helping humanity with this paradigm shift from the old era into the new. So right now we're right in the middle of it.
Love it.
And and to start to trust the messages that we get in our dreams, the messages when we get, through our daily life. And when we are now slowing down, what happens is that you tune in to the earth frequency, When we do that, we become super grounded. And when you're super grounded, be having your feet to the ground and your heaven in the clouds, that is the ultimate being, you know, the beingness we can be. And that is when we are most receptive.
Yeah.
So the messages we get helps us to of, you know, the flow. So you get synchronicity, you know, messages. It can be numbers. If you're into numerology, numerologists, you read the universe's messages that way. It can be a song that you hear when you play music, you know, one sentence that is just a knocker in, you know, for a message for you. It can be people you meet that just suddenly say something to you and you just, oh, it hits you. Whoa, that was profound. So it's important to be extra relaxed and on our toes for, you know, a higher communication now to help us guide us through this time. That was kind of a long answer to your question, but it's hard to answer in a shorter way.
I love the way you describe this, that we're standing between heaven and earth, or the cosmos and the earth, the mother, and some say it's the father element, dynamic, you know, yin yang, or whatever you want to call it. And I use it also in biodynamic agriculture as the cosmic and the earthly forces for the plants. So we're all actually, it sounds like from what you say, just mediators. And if we were really connected on both ends, both with the earth and the cosmos, then we could truly function in service for the whole, rather than going into one or the other extreme and reacting to either euphorism of going, wow, this is so great, you know, I'm getting excited, it's like finally the changes are happening, and it's like I'm getting all out there and carried out, or really depressed and just overwhelmed with all the bad news and, you know, reactionary, and then going within and drawing in. And I must say I'm a little bit concerned for a lot of elderly people or people who have been asked to isolate, to actually, if they don't have that perspective you just presented to us, that they go actually down the drain and really are almost, you know, getting suicidal because they're in such isolation. So I'm wondering, you know, with you having that wisdom for people like that who maybe.
I'm sorry, Hans, I just want to.
Yes, tell me. It looks like we have a little technical glitch there with freezing.
Yes.
Are you still there? Let's just wait a moment. See what happens.
It's breaking up.
Yeah, we have a little glitch here. There's probably too many connected people here in the world right now through the internet, and it slows our form of communication. So I was just wondering, with you describing all that, for people who are in isolation, you know, either they do voluntary isolating from other people because they don't want to infect other people. They might have met someone who's contagious. I have my own experience, a doctor even who had to stay home. Then I meet his mother, and then she goes, well, I can't go anywhere because, you know, I've been with someone who supposedly has the crown virus. For people who choose that and don't have the perspective you have, would you have some suggestions for them to actually say, well, what's essential at that moment for you guys to do to stay in a positive and in a centered place?
Yes, I have a very important answer to that question. And that is that, look, we all come from a source which many call God. We can call it the universe, we can call it the higher intelligence, but we came from this intelligent source, and we're here now. We lost the connection, and then when we die, when we finally die, we get back to that source. Our job is here to get back to that connection. This is actually back to the first question. Yeah. Because when we understand, well, it's two levels. First, the brain, the mind needs to understand this then the second level is to get the penny to drop the second time, to embody it, to feel that it's true, to get our own, profound experiences with nature and, the source.
Yeah.
And that is what all of us who have awoken have in common. We have connected to that source. We can talk about it in a relaxed manner, and it's nothing strange at all. It's totally normal. But for those who haven't awoken, it can be weird and strange to listen to. But it's not weird, it's not strange, it's just pure love. It's nothing to be afraid of. Totally the opposite. It's actually like, you bring back, the connection that you feel you lost through your younger years. Now it's back, right? So when we are lost and we don't have that connection, our immune system is not helping us to be immune. But if you know that you are part of that source, which is the source of all beings, you know with every fiber of your soul, in every cell of your being, that you are immune. Nothing can touch you. So the only thing we need to do is know that, get our sleep, and eat properly and drink properly. That's it. And when I say properly, I of course mean super healthy as you can. And I also want to share this. This is super important. If you can choose between two beings, one being super healthy and fit, super fit and super healthy, but lacks this trust and profound connection to the source. So he wavers in his belief and buy into the fear propaganda. So you go into fear now in this moment. Contra, a person who has lost everything, living on the streets, but has this fantastic channel to the divine, eating garbage from garbage cans. Who do you think has the best possibility of surviving this, not to get sick? You already know the answer. I already know the answer, but I'm just going to say it to make it super clear. It's the guy living on the streets. It's the guy with the connection. So the connection is number one for our immune system. And that is not easy. If you don't have the connection yet, you need to start to practice it. You need to start to want to get the connection. Crown chakra. Everything is about to open up to get your direct contact with source. So you can, feel home again, be yourself again. So there's many ways of doing this. And of course, everything that's going on now on the planet, it's no news. It's just that if you're ready for diving into meditation and yoga, tai chi, qigong, everything, mindfulness and going on inner journeys, starting your spiritual development, it's time. This is it. This is the time we start with that.
And it sounds like to me, you're very much emphasizing that people having that unison again, or that experience of unison, or some people call it love, this experience of love and support, that it's also creating a way of trust. Because I think right now, and I'm very curious what you think about this, we've been separated in a certain sense. It feels to me as if there's an unseen force in this world saying, don't touch each other, don't get close to each other as human beings anymore. Luckily, animals are safe because they're not, transmitting any of the diseases, but amongst humans, stay away from each other. And I remember very clearly someone stating that by the end of the last century, we will have a time of the war against all, which basically is nobody trusts each other anymore. You feel like you're dealing with other criminals because there's so many criminals out there. You're dealing with other people who are contagious because, there's this virus story and it's been around for the last 30 years with evolving viruses. it's been around in economy. Don't trust anybody because everybody's just out to get the best deal from each other instead of really serving each other. How do you see that we could actually deal again with the fact that people are so separated? How could we help people to come together again? Have you got any tools that you've sort of, like the bag lady having some pockets, or the pocket lady pockets full of like secret little tools that we can come together again, trust each other again, because that's not easy. For you grow up as a child and the first thing you hear is always, don't trust strangers. Me as a child, I wanted to always give goodies and sweets and things away. Don't trust anybody. So much so that by the time I was an adolescent, I would mistrust myself. I wouldn't even trust in myself. Anything you could sort of point people towards in this challenging time where, where we're told stay apart, just connect through the internet, and the younger generation particularly, where could they look to, to regenerate that trust, that connectedness?
Okay, well, again, it goes back to the first question that either you now are going into fear or you're going into love and peace.
Okay.
And depending on which person you are and what happens inside of you, that is what's going to happen, one or the other. And I see signs now of both. So we go into two extremes. Yeah. So I see a number of people who, don't want to hug anymore when we meet. And then I meet a lot who just say, of course we're going to hug, even if they say you shouldn't. Because we're both on the same wavelength that this is not, any danger for us. Yeah. So it depends of, where you are in your, level of just, we'll say, personal and spiritual development, what frequency you're on. If you're in the love and peace frequency, that's no problem. But if you're in the fear frequency, I can just say it's hard to change that, because people, when you are in that fear, the most effective way is to really, take the bull by its horn and really look into this fear and face it, talk about it, turn it inside out, back and forth until, okay, I understand, and you're done with it. And that might take some time now, because most people are in fear, they're so sucked into this drama. So they are, what you just asked in this question, those people who behave in a, in a manner that's really hard to reach. However, the other ones, I see wonderful signs happening, totally the opposite response what the government wants.
Yeah.
In Sweden, for instance, there is a lot of people putting up signs in their apartment buildings down by the door to the outside, inside, and all the people living in that building in the apartments are welcome to contact this person, who says on the note that if you need me to help you go buy groceries or anything I can do, fix laundry or clean for you, whatever you need, just take my number here, call me, I will come and help you. That has happened, a beautiful wave like that.
Yeah.
And a number of those light worker things.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of what you said, actually, community coming together, start to care for each other.
Yeah.
And this is actually part of the shift from the Piscean time to Aquarius time, because the Aquarius stands for humanitarian time.
Yeah, yeah, and really feel people's pain. I mean, so many people right now are, through the fear, so much in pain, I think, in terms of emotional pain, possibly precipitating physical pain, because they're might not moving anymore, they're just getting stagnant, and really suffer under this illusion that fear being, false evidence of apparent reality, making the wrong conclusions because they're isolating and not going out anymore. Like you say, these other people offer to be of service, and in being interested in others, and suddenly I don't care anymore how I feel. It's like I'm feeling others and their joy when I'm able to share with them. And it's wonderful you gave that example of people being open to do that, even though we're advised not to, which is another fear that's being imposed. Don't disobey, don't break the rules, because you're going to be sick.
I also like to put in another advice / good thought. And that is, how about we use this opportunity to, when we're in our home cells, your own little prison cell at home, make this little transformation time for yourself. So instead of going down in health and fitness, you can excel, you can go up, spend more time doing yoga, spend more time doing qigong, tai chi, meditate, do more push-ups, train at home. So you actually get more fit during this time, instead of that you let the couch take you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that suggestion, and I'm very privileged because I always carry my gym with from one home to another. Where I'm living now, I've got my own gym on the veranda, and in fresh air with the sun shining on me. Because
lucky you.
The gyms are closed down, the swimming pools are closed down, the saunas are closed down. So I just self-impose it here myself. And I think the other thing is also, when we think that, when we were so busy in the rat race, we didn't have time for self-care. We didn't have time even to quiet down, to meditate, to come within. I suppose it's difficult for people, even myself, I find it sometimes challenging because I'm such an action guy and always out there helping others and so on, to really come in and face our own things that come up, the dragons, the darkness, the traumas, that we've been pushing away by doing things. So are there any techniques or tools that you would say, for people to come within? You mentioned before yoga and all these activities, but even though we were in that still space, that from your experience really help people to deal with these maybe emerging images that they never faced before, because they're suddenly silent, they're suddenly in peace and quiet, and suddenly the dragon rises out of the cage.
Yes, I do. I have something profound. I'm glad you asked that question, because it helped me to bring up for myself. Okay, so let's talk a little bit Swinglish.
Okay, let's go. Let's see if I have to translate.
All right. So
humor is a great thing to have in this time. Go on, mix it all.
There is a few words in Swedish, when you translate them to English and then back and forth, you get a third understanding of it.
Okay.
So this is profound. So we are human beings. We're not human doings, but we're caught in human doingness, and we're less valuable if we're just being. That is the perception. But the spiritual practices and teachings teach the other way. Why should you think lesser of yourself if you don't do anything? Why shouldn't it be enough if you just be? And that's the birth of meditation and yoga, qigong, mindfulness, all these practices, especially meditation. To just sit doing nothing and just reflect on yourself and your life, connect to source, and just find stillness, find peace.
What if people not but I can't meditate, I start meditating and all these thoughts are coming, and what do I do with all this? What would you suggest? What would you tell them to focus?
Well, for all those who have a really, let's call it an ADHD kind of mind, right? In the yoga tradition, they call it the monkey mind. if if that is shattering is so strong so you can't relax, you can't turn on, first of all, you have to pause the coffee. You have to pause the green tea, you know, all those things that speeds up your system.
Cut out the stimulants.
Yeah, and instead go the other way. Look into calming teas. And then there is another area which can help a lot, and that's music, frequencies. So put on some good headphones, go into YouTube and look up, you can go into frequency music for meditation. And there is a scale from the lowest to the highest where you can actually get beats and drums and things that it helps your mind to become, you know, pleasured. And at the same time, there is another calmer energy that helps you to calm down and actually go into the meditation. So sound is a fantastic, profound way to help that, to bridge that, to help you like to calm down the heartbeat, calm down the pulse. And when you're there, it's just a few minutes. Maybe it takes 5 to 15 minutes for a real stressed, you know, monkey mind, but that's it. And once you're over that hump, you go into the most amazing bliss ever. So it's a good way to start to use that type of music to help you in your meditation and taking power naps. You can just search on power nap music and start to use that to help you bridge to like to be in that state, because we have to be in that state many times through the day and in between, not to lose it too much. And once we have done it for a while, then that becomes the new norm. And then we're here
creating new rhythms in life.
Yes.
And talking about rhythm, would you say, in your experience, have you had any experience with breathing, like deep belly breathing? And
then of course
hyped, just head breathing almost. It's like up here, shoulder breathing, without getting deep into the lower frequencies of the digestive system and the vagus nerve being cooled down and all that.
Yep. Actually, that is the first thing.
Okay.
Music second.
All right.
But they go together, you know, if you're really a stressed person. But of course, breathing is the number one thing. So I teach, start to use your full lung capacity as often as you can throughout the day. In through the nose, really 100% air in your lungs. Keep it a few seconds and then not blow out till you're done, blow out more than you're done, because there is this little pocket all the way down in your stomach that when you press your ab muscles, there is an extra little pocket there that you breathe out. And that helps profoundly in many ways that it's too much to go into now. But in yogic traditions, you actually learn how to connect with the deepest part of your being by going to the deepest part of your breathing. Then when you take the next deep breath, it feels like you now can fill your lung 110%. But that's just an illusion, because every time we breathe 100% in, 100% out, you expand to what is our 100%. Before it was maybe just 80. So, and most people are on automatic breathing, like you said. We only breathe halfway when we're on automatic pilot and we don't think about the breathing. But by doing this, I can just do this one breath and I feel how I just connect to earth. I just become here. Before I needed to take many breaths to do that, and even further back when I started, I didn't reach it. But when you do it for a long time,
Yeah.
if you have lost it, you're now more in beta and gamma energy levels.
Right.
It can be enough that you just catch yourself that now you have lost, you're stressed out, you know, you're in stress.
Yeah.
And then you just take one breath like that, and allow yourself to just calm down again, and wow, we're back. So breathing is I use breathing all the time, throughout the day, 100% long. When you go out for a walk, when you sit in the car, when you're home, when you do the dishes, there's so many times when you can just allow yourself to breathe. And when we do, we leave being out there in our mind and we come in the body. So we need to be in our body now much more, and not in our mind.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you were saying how, coming into this peaceful environment, coming into the calm state. And so that is like a really strong inner preparation for dealing with all that we're bombarded with from the outside. But then, I'm thinking a lot of people, they wash up. You mentioned all these mundane activities. They wash up and might be having the radio on, the news are on, and yet another few people have died of coronavirus, and this happened and that disaster and another. And I'm thinking, isn't that interesting how we also start filling our thought life without even being aware of all these, well, I would call it waste products, of death and fear and threatening impairing my life from the outside. So would you say it's also important to actually maybe cut out a little bit of that? What other things could we listen to, or just shut down the radio or the television or whatever we have?
Yes, it's again back to your first question, that right now we can even tune in to the drama and everything that's going on and be busy again, or we can take this opportunity and tune into the peace and love and stress down. Actually just go into the peace, just be more present, just allow this situation to benefit you.
And then thinking of the many times when we thought, well, there's never time for me to actually muse with making my own music, writing my own poetry.
Yeah.
Do all the things, read the books that I never wanted, find the time to read because I was too busy. Find that inner core, as you said earlier, through these exercises to see, what do I really want to do in life? Did I actually, was I happy doing what I was doing? Is this actually a blessing that this happened? I don't know if you yourself had many moments in your life where you talked before when we had the interview that you realized you came to an end and you had to start totally anew. Any suggestions how people could dare to allow themselves to really connect with themselves, and maybe even choose at this moment to give up what was actually in their way to truly becoming themselves?
Yeah, I mean, this is on the ultimate level, the universe now giving us a chance to understand that we've been totally hijacked before. A lot of people, especially all those in fear, can't wait to everything to go back to normal again.
Yeah.
Listen, it's over. The old world is not coming back.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of people trying to go back to what was.
Yeah.
But what was is not here anymore. The new earth, the new being that we are, is now birthing, is now coming alive. The new era, Aquarius time, is here. And with that, I would say sooner or later, there comes a day when you really start to reevaluate what's important in your life. And this is a fantastic, grand opportunity to do just that.
Yeah.
Take your time, to just go into that big question. What is really important to me in my life? And then look at your old priority list and then make a new one. And the first priority, let that be what is most important, because I understand in most people's lives, the first priority, which is really what we really want in our soul, is not even on the old priority list for many people. Not even on the 10th place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
new doors might be opening up that we dreamt about.
So this is an opportunity, to listen to that inner voice, to listen to that calling. And that is what I talked about, connect to source. Source energy wants, listen, this is a great way to explain it. I have a candle here. Let's say this is God, right? So this is God. Let's just pretend that this is the sun. And around the sun, we have sunbeams. And let's just say, as a metaphor, each sun is a human being. So the source is the sun itself, and the beams from the sun are human beings. And now we are 8 billion, close to 7.5 billion, right? And we all have the opportunity to connect and become that expression of source energy. And when we listen to what that means, it is our talents, it is our passions. So we are meant to let this light come out through us and express source energy through us. And that is our vocations. So it's not to be selfish, it's actually the opposite. It's to start doing what you came here to do and came here to be, which comes back to what I was supposed to say in the beginning with the Swinglish thing. Yeah. And that is when you translate human being and human doing in Swedish, in the spiritual terms. So spirit in Swedish is called ande. And ande has many connection names in Swedish. For instance, the first one, breath. To take a breath is to take an andetag. That's the breath of spirit. That's what it means. And there is
inspiring.
And when exactly,
yeah.
And then when
Beautiful.
we look into what we truly are, the essence of a human being expressed in spiritual terms, there are only two expressions, and that is when we're in our doingness or beingness, and that is in spiritual terms in Sweden, you call it. Let's just say it right. When you are in your görande, do spirit or spirit doing, because it's the words become swapped, but it's the same word. So spirit doing is görande, right? And then we have spirit being, and that is let's say it right, correct. You have andetag, görande, or varande. So varande is be spirit. So when we are just being, we're in the state of varande.
Yeah.
And varande is the state of peace, meditation, doing nothing, you just is. And when you do that for a long time, you can tell that when you look at that being, sitting doing nothing, just being, you can still see that there is a lot of beingness capable of doing a lot of things by just being.
Yeah.
You can walk down the street in a very calm and easy manner and bring much more attention to yourself than a doing person who is stressed, and because that calmness is infectious, especially in these times when everybody's so stressed out. It's a breath of fresh air that you can actually tap into. So when we're in that beingness, and we keep the beingness in all our doingness, that's jackpot. And that's what we all are on our way to learn how to do and be.
Very nice. So having achieved all that, hopefully sooner than later, what would you say, in your opinion, is the situation really about, and is it really as dangerous as it's being made out in terms of contagiousness? Or would you say we've had these situations all through history, and for some reason right now it's been played out seemingly much more dangerous than it actually might be?
Again, there's actually two answers to that. First of all, I don't really know.
Yeah.
The second of them is that I know quite a lot.
You've done some research.
Yeah.
I bet, yeah.
And so with everything that I take in, combined with what I feel, and that has to also to go with the agenda, that I know the end agenda, and that is the depopulation plan, and that they have done all the other viruses, are laboratory made. So now this is a more complex version, the most fancy of the viruses that they have brought forth.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to the next step, which is to lay out the 5G, which is going to have very similar symptoms like you get when you get the virus. So you get flu-like symptoms when they turn on the 5G.
Right.
So to mask that, they needed to make a real virus, so it really affects a lot of people, but it doesn't affect so many as they were planning to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then the third step is the vaccinations. And that is going to be the real killer together with the 5G. And in order for that to be able to become, mandatory in many countries, it needed to be a real virus. So yes, it's real. No, it's not at all as dangerous as they say. Actually, it's a lot of fake messages going out there. All the numbers are way higher than the real thing. And when you see people with masks and they spray every city, it's just to, to give people the impression that is the most incredible. It's like the plague, in the Middle Ages. That's what they try to sell you that it is, but it's not. It's like a normal flu. In every flu season, we lose a lot of people around the planet. But this is also coming back to, again, our full capacity. When we develop ourselves and our body to its full potential, you have a thick wall of, power that you exude, and your aura is wall. And so you can get hits here if you have done that, it's not going to affect you because you have a lot of buffer. But when you are a weak person, an old person, by the end of your life, or you're sick, you have, major diseases, you don't have any buffer. So it's only a little ping, and you're over the limit and you die. So they contribute a lot of deaths to the virus, but it's not the virus that killed them. It was all the other, the lifestyle until this point.
Yep, you're right on. I think I'm totally with you there. And it's good to hear that as a confirmation, to see that it's actually vulnerable people that are being taken out by this virus. It's the elderly. and you wonder what's going on behind it because, well, we know that governments are running out of paying old age pensions. And it's good to hear, though, that, as you say, even though people might be vulnerable and have chronic conditions, because we know that chronic conditions are very rife. I mean, most of the modern diseases, 1 in 2 are afflicted, or 1 in 3, and are therefore more vulnerable. But you gave us some amazing ground and anchoring in the fact and the confidence that we can actually do something from within to create that buffer, as you called it. I think I really love that image that we can do so much from spirit, and whatever our physical condition at the moment, that's only a expression of the lack of care we've taken spiritually, emotionally of ourselves, but also what we put in our body. You were talking earlier about nutrition. You were talking about, you didn't maybe mention it, but I'll mention it now, the people we surround ourselves with, the stories we gather from people that might actually contaminate us also in a certain, or intoxicate us in a certain way. So you're giving us hope in a way, although it might be depressing or for some people very hard to take, to say, well, what is this about with the depopulation agenda and all that? How do you see, can we as believers and also knowers of the fact that we are spiritual beings and have this vocation that you talked about earlier, really bring into this life, into this earth right now, with full responsibility to share of ourselves fully, and therefore possibly being more immune?
Okay, I think it's time to tell you this, and that is, if by studying the plan, which you can find if you start to dig in, what is really the agenda? You can go into Agenda 21, you can go into Agenda 2030, but most importantly is that you backtrack and go back to its origin, and you just start to find, the plan, the grand plan for the elite of humanity.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to is that in the end time, there will come a person who will seem to be the light bearer that's going to save humanity from this evil, dark cabal with this dark plan.
Yeah.
And that is Trump today. Right? And now I don't want to start to polarize, because this is not the time to polarize. This is the opposite. I am a uniter. I'm a healer. I want to unite us. No matter if you're a Trump supporter or not, I want both of us to understand, we the people in the pyramid, we're on the bottom shelf of the pyramid, all of us. If we are a Trump believer or not, we're still down here, right? Then you have the middle aspect of all the middle big corporations and people who are a little bit more lucky economically wise. And then you have the top of the elite who runs the planet, right? And the plan has always been that in the end, to fool the people, they will throw the middle people of the cabal, they will throw them under the bus. They will feed them to the people to make them think and feel that it's over, we won. And right now you see that with the Q movement and the Trump movement, that they are cleansing the swamp, right? And they're gonna, feed this dark cabal to the people, and it will seem that now we're finally free.
Yeah.
But listen, right now we are in, let's look at movies that have been made, like The Fellowship of the Ring. We're only in the second part right now.
Yeah.
There is a much more that we have to go through before this is over.
Yeah.
But if you look in that trilogy, if you looked into Matrix,
yeah,
or many other movies that's been made about these times, in the 11th hour, it looks like, it feels like it's over for us. We have no chance because these dark masters, they're so powerful beyond belief, so we have no chance. But yes, we do, because there is a grand architect that has created us and them, that is much bigger and have a much, much, much bigger plan for humanity than they do. So it will turn out fine. And if you just tap into that,
Yeah.
that everything will be fine. But what you need, you strong.
If you pause for a moment, because we have a little glitch here.
And also,
could you just repeat what you said with the last few sentences? We just had a glitch here. Yeah, would you just repeat
where did
that?
you lose me?
Just the last two sentences about you said, but at the end it will be fine, and then you started elaborating. And we still are not connected. We have a little delay here in the line. Okay, you're back. No? Something's playing up now. We've set
Yeah.
Yeah. You're there again.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this is also part of it. When we are coming together with important messages, there is interference going on, you know.
Yeah.
But you who listen, if you just stick to this, it's going to be worth your time, I promise. So the most important thing now is to develop a strong spiritual backbone, right? And have endurance, you know, think long term.
Yeah.
You can't just have a peak now in your fitness and health. You need to have a new high level of fitness and health that is easy for you to keep, and you can keep it for the rest of your life. You know, come into the routines that keep you fit and strong, both in body and spirit.
Yeah.
And that is how we're going to win. You know, that you can't exhaust a people like that who are, you know, thinking of that light in the end of the tunnel that we know will happen, because there is so much going on. So we don't really know exactly how this is going to pan out and how we're going to come together to make this shift happen and let, you know, real good people choose their own leaders, our leaders that we wish, on the highest posts around the world. But right now, they're occupied by maniacs, psychopaths, you know, that they don't have any empathy for humanity. They don't care about the little person. So I just want to infuse that I have, you know, a lot of, I mean, it's not, it's beyond security. It's beyond that I know. It's just a total manifestation of knowing that everything will be fine. I know it, but it will take time. We're in the time of end time, of tribulation. There's going to be many hurdles now. So we need to be strong. We need to be positive. We need to be in peace and love. All these goodies of feelings, we need to really start to master them. So to become a practitioner of being positive and seeing the light in the end of the tunnel. That is my most important gift to share, and for this time.
You gave us also the gift to actually look through it and give us a good example of your own trajectory and your own research and your own courage, I think, because for a lot of us, maybe it might be difficult to face this, because yet more fears might come up, seeing the true future that's ahead of us that we have to face. And we either face it empowered or we will be squished, basically. I think there's nothing much in between. You can't sit on
you have to become a spiritual, peaceful warrior. You know, we have many names for it. That you become a light worker, that you find your vocation, you find your calling, that you start to leave your selfish life. That's the old life. The new life now, that you're in total service for this higher part of humanity, to help humanity to the next level. That's it. And the more of us who give ourselves to this higher calling, the faster we're going to get there.
And it feels to me also with what you're saying, and you mentioned earlier, addressed it a little bit, to create community with this in terms of support networks, and feel that we're not isolated. We're not just isolated, even if we're in different countries. We're all Earth citizens. We might be individuals, but we all are part of this creator that you were calling on earlier. And even the ones that we think and sometimes project they're the evil spirits and so on, but if we can embrace our own dark side, and as we talked earlier, to find this time now as an opportunity to go deep within and see who is really living inside us. Because I remember Mother Teresa was once saying, I'm very aware I have to work on myself every day, because the more powerful I get as a custodian and servant of other people in the earth, I'm actually aware also I've got a Hitler inside me. I've got a despot inside me. And if I'm not becoming aware as I'm growing spiritually, and it's a very fine line of being a servant or being a despot. It's like, where's the dividing line, yeah? That the ego does not get mixed up with it. That we're really working from the higher self.
Yeah, exactly. But I think also the circumstances now are so profound.
Yeah.
So there will be no darkness in or shadow in those who are really devoted themselves for the light. It's on the way to becoming a total servant for the light. Yeah. Yes, there is a struggle between the shadow and the light, but that is the part of the journey. And once you conquer that, and you actually, it's to again unite your yin and yang, unite your darkness. There's a lot of love and power and support in the darkness who wants your best for you, which is many times seemed selfish, but it's also a survivor skill. And that can benefit the whole. If you learn to survive this journey, you don't die on the path here, you can be to much better benefit for the world. If you stay longer, and we all need to stay long now. We need to learn these survival skills.
And when you say survival skills, also to live the joy, which I see you live, you're always with a smile on your face. You're always in homeostasis of being able to, it sounds like, to absorb these changes into a dynamic balance, not to just hold it in control. Like maybe, when we're younger, we think we might have to control something that affects us, but really to be in touch with who we are truly. As you said before, we connect with spirit, we connect with the earth, we're grounded, we are these mediators, we are also aware of what's going on in the world. And we're creating the tools that you mentioned earlier, which is so wonderful, that we have now this time to go into meditation, to go into mindfulness, to go into the exercises of yoga or whatever modality we're choosing, the Tai Chi, what have you, or your body mastery, because that's fascinating where you bring modalities together. And I hear you're also now creating these online programs, hopefully, to teach people. You're already in many ways teaching people in daily practical life, but as it gets hard at this moment to do that, you're preparing also other programs to link people up in that way.
Yeah, I am strongly now coming to, just putting my head around how to best be in service now in this time. And something will happen in a very short future that you can, you who watch this and other will, be able to be part of. If you really, what it comes down to is that we're all on this journey, and we need to learn how to find the essence of it. That's what I'm into. I like the essence of everything and how to develop it to its full potential. To really live there in those frequencies, in that zone of our full potential. And that is also a misconception, is the old way, is the old master is so hard and disciplined, and you have to, it's painful, you have to give up a lot of things that you like, so it's not very attractive to most people. But the new level of mastery is with the yin involved, so yin and yang is combined, and that is much more loving and peaceful and relaxed, and so it's so much more attractive, pleasurable. So that's what I'm into, how to really become a master of enjoying the journey, as well as developing that other side, which is disciplined. So you get the combination of discipline and also that you can relax the discipline side and just be. So yeah, that's the new level of mastery for humanity. Absolutely.
That kind of sums it up. I myself,
Yeah.
the name came to me, nurturing resilience.
All right, beautiful. And it's like watching the nature.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same thing.
I mean, when you think of a tree, right? And you
Yes.
have these big winds coming.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dancing, and yet they're anchored.
Yeah.
And the wind
Yeah.
whistles through the leaves, and you have this beautiful sound. And so, in a way, I mean, nature is constantly enjoyed, and sometimes more enjoy when the times are harder, and you hear it literally speak and rejoice.
Mm.
More so when there are challenges than in the times when it might get a bit boring because there's nothing happening. So I think I mean, to me, it's a blessing to be alive at this time. At the
It's the
crux,
greatest show ever.
it's constantly on the edge. It's like,
Yeah.
the thing that comes to me is I'm a snowboarder. When you're carving, you're on the edge.
Yeah.
You're just about to fall. You let go, and you go into the fall, and you're propelled out of the curve into another swing and swoop around, and it's like, wow, it's like dancing.
Yeah.
Nature does it. You do it in your body mastery. I see it so full of joy, of blessings for people to really connect all these different parts of ourselves. And I mean, you say you're going to put it online. I can't wait. And I said to you before, and I say to you listeners, let's have Bjorn here in England or wherever he's going to show up, so we can go to, because it's a great journey to follow and to experience ourselves. So I don't know if you want to say some words of summarizing and kind of giving people a last impulse of saying, hey, these are the most fantastic times. Whatever you're told that's supposedly happening, but what you're really making out of it, how could you make the best out of it? How is this a good opportunity?
Okay, thank you. Well, I would say this. Listen, we live in the most challenging and epic times of all humanity's history and evolution. This is a quantum leap moment where we actually are activating that which the science called junk DNA. These are superpowers that are now becoming activated within us. Things are not going to become the same again after this. We're evolving to a whole new being. And you don't do that if you go into the old fear mongering. If you stay in that old paradigm with everything that's going on there, all the drama, you're not going to be part of this. But if you unplug and you become part of this evolution instead, to the next level, boy, you're in for a journey.
Absolutely. Gosh, this is beautiful. This is exciting. This is so hopeful. And not just hopeful, but it's almost like in spirit a fulfillment that's waiting for us. That the image that came to me when you described that was, you can stay being the metal, being put in the fire and being forged and hammered on, or become the sparks and be free.
Yeah. Good, beautiful. Like that.
So
yeah, and also that was the individual part of it, but it's not the whole thing, because the whole thing is the whole thing, and that is us, we. I love us. I love us. I think we're the most beautiful, species in the universe. Maybe there are other equally beautiful species, but I love us. I think
At this
humanity is just
moment,
a,
we know what you're saying, yeah.
yeah.
But anything else is hypothesis. We have
Yeah. So the thing we need to understand is all of those who are not awake and not ready for this, it's sad in my heart because they have been programmed like all of us from childhood not to evolve. But this new era, we're going to help children from the very beginning they come to the planet to learn, how to evolve and become part of this new wonderful era, which is we're right in the start of. So we do this journey individually by tuning in, and we do it together by raising our frequencies inside and becoming that wiser self of ours. And then we come out and we have a huge community of people who do the same, that spends a lot of in time. So when we're out together, we are a united humanity. And that is growing. This new humanity is growing for every day.
And we need to gather more to have that feedback, that resonance
Yes.
that's happening, because that's like an orchestra that's working together with different individual instruments, isn't it? And I mean, you mentioned so clearly earlier about this becoming into this dance almost of being and doing, but we've forgotten to be and to accept just for who we are by being. And it was most remarkable for me to meet one gentleman in the sauna who had actually passed over and was clinically dead. And also hearing recently about other people who had the same experience, were brought back. And they said, for the first time in my life, when I passed over, I was feeling fully accepted. And such bliss that I didn't want to come back.
No.
But I think from what you're saying is that is really awaiting us here on Earth. This kind of potential, you called it with the unleashing of the RNA, the gene expression that they don't even know what it's about. They call it epigenetics and all that, but there's much more there to be seen than the eye meets.
Yeah.
It's such a miracle. It's like every moment becomes a surprise.
Another way of saying it is that when we do this, dormant forces come alive.
Yeah.
We all have it inside. We just need that spark. We need to turn it on.
Yeah.
And we can't do that if we don't go into it and start to practice it.
Yeah.
And that is to start with just, develop our intuition.
Yeah. And earlier you mentioned also it's this importance of becoming more aware of looking what surrounds us and what comes back to us. I mean, just as an example, for example, at the last 2-3 weeks, as I see this here in England with the situation escalating, people being isolated, children staying home from school, all this potential of human creativity is withheld in the home. I'm feeling, wow, I got to get out there and be more of who I am, and sharing with the gardens and teaching and inspiring and giving talks and bringing people together in nature to co-create. And so everyone, we have this potential right now, it seems, to be actually more encouraged by these challenges that are happening.
Absolutely. You're spot on.
So it's an exciting journey. I mean, as I said earlier to you before we started, this is the most exciting time for me. And in a way, I have great hope, because, why would 8 billion people or thereabouts inhabit the globe all together at such a crucial moment in time, wondering why are there so many people there overpopulating the earth? Maybe they're here because they're expecting this kind of experience and celebrating it together. Who knows?
Well, it's not who knows. We do know. You see, in the moment of birth, actually in the process of birth,
yeah,
we forget the blueprint we signed up on. we signed up on this. We all chose to come here in this specific time to be part of the greatest show in the universe. And that is to go from a type 0 civilization to a type 1 civilization. And it's a huge, shift to awaken to this. And you can sum it up in 3 simple ways. One is that we have developed the technology to have free energy. So it's energy of abundance. And that means that we have a total new system, a new financial system, a new system to build to last, to let humanity thrive. Okay, so that's the system. Then there is 3 very important keys for each person to do or become. 1, to live in peace and harmony with ourselves and each other. 2, to live in peace and harmony with all animals. And that means you can't eat them anymore, right? 3, to live in peace and harmony with nature. That means you can't do any harm to nature anymore. You can't throw garbage in nature. Right. You have to be conscious of that wheel. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. People, animal, nature. That's it. Yeah. It's not a big step, but yes, it is. For most of humanity, it is to leave the meat and become a vegan. It's a huge shift. But all of us who have done it, it's just a win. You don't lose anything. You just win in every way.
Here, and I mean, as you say, win, win, win.
Yeah.
Not much more to be said. It's where we're going, where we are, and we have been there. We haven't recognized it maybe yet, and it's great to have you on board here to remind us and confirm through your own beautiful journey that it's possible. And can't wait to reconnect another time and go deeper and unravel more of the mysteries that are hidden there in the future for us, because it seems like every month is like a whole year now. So yes. The sooner we connect again, the better. And from my heart and from my colleagues and the whole being of the Healing Matrix Online, I want to express my grateful thanks to you and for your journey, for your experiences, for the people that have helped you along on this journey. And as you say, in the spirit of Aquarian age, of this connectedness, to thank the whole of creation, because we're all one at the end of the day.
Yes.
So be it.
Thank you. I like to end with a saying from Africa, which I just love, and I think it's a perfect ending. And that is Hakuna Matata, which means
Matata.
No more worries for the rest of your days.
And with that?
And that is from the movie The Lion King.
All right.
Yeah.
Say it in African again.
Hakuna Matata.
Okay, so we all remember Hakuna Matata.
So it's a philosophy, the worry-free life. Live a worry-free life.
There you go. Live the worry-free life. With that, we hand over to the universe and call this meeting ended with this beautiful blessing that you gave just now. Thank you very much, Bjorn.
Thank you.
Healing and empowering journey to you all the way to the union with the universe. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye-bye.